Hi, my name is Nicola and this is Stitches and Slapdashery. Welcome to my sewing room. Today I'm going to show you how to make a cute little handmade pumpkin, because fall is all about pumpkins, isn't it? And it's the perfect time of year to be making a range of pumpkins in any shape or size to add to your decor. So this is what this little guy looks like. It's just felt, a pipe cleaner or chenille stick, some polyester toy stuffing, some thread. Embroidery floss is what I used, but you could use ordinary sewing thread if that's what you have. If you want to neaten off his little bottom, you could add a button, or you could replace the pipe cleaner with a button on top as well, if that's what you prefer. So I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll come back and see you at the end and see what you thought. Today I'm going to make another pumpkin because I'm having a lot of fun with these guys. This is the one I made first, and it came out so well that I then went and made this one. I love non-standard colours for things, and then I made this one. So today I'm going to make a rather traditional one in orange with green spirally things for the tendrils. I have so many different colours of pipe cleaners and felt that I could just keep on going and make 100 of these things. And yeah, I won't be making 100 of them, obviously, but I think they're going to look really cute lined up on my mantelpiece for fall. This is the template I cut. It's just a really basic kind of leaf shape. I cut it out of a placemat that I got from the dollar store. I don't know, it might have been called a placemat, might have been called a craft mat. It's just a thin, foamy thing, which is perfect for templates because the edge is thick enough for you to draw around without it slipping. And it's easy to cut, and yeah, it's super cheap. I did not use any sort of guide for this. I just drew it freehand. When I measured it, it's just a little less than 4 inches long and about 1.75 inches wide. I know it's not exactly symmetrical, but that's okay because pumpkins are not all naturally symmetrical, are they? They're all different shapes and sizes. And you could do this in any size you like. But for one of these size, it comes out about, what would you say? Let's see. It comes out about 4 inches across approximately and a couple of inches tall. And so with a standard size felt square, let me just see if I can find one here. Oh, they're all cut into. Okay, here's one that looks like it's still got the tag on. Yep. Here's a felt square that's still got the label on. So you need 6 of these for one pumpkin. So you could get at least 2 out of a felt square, I think. I know they call them squares, but they're really rectangles, aren't they? This is a glittery one. That gives me an idea for a Christmassy thing. But later, Nicola, later. So I'm just going to start by grabbing a pen, which I don't have in my hand right now. I'm just using a regular ballpoint pen because you're not going to see the pen marks once it's sewn together. Apart from a little bit of material to use as a template, could be cardboard, could just be cut out of an old envelope or anything really. You'll also need a little bit of polyfill, or you could use fabric scraps to stuff it, or yarn scraps. Heck, I suppose you could even use beans or something to make it more weighty. Anything that works. And then, of course, you need your pipe cleaners, aka chenille sticks. You just need 1 for 1 pumpkin. You're going to cut it in half and coil it and stick it in, and a needle and some embroidery thread. Now, I haven't decided which embroidery thread I'm going to use for this. I'm doing orange and green. Now, let's just have a rummage in my DMC bag here. Oh, I think I just found the perfect one. Look at that. It's a variegated brown and gold. Okay, that's definitely it. If you're a little bit persnickety about your symmetry, it does make it easier to sew the bits together. Because obviously with mine being asymmetrical, I had to just fudge them a little bit when I was sewing them together. Now, I'm pretty sure felt doesn't have any sort of a grain line, so you don't need to keep them all facing in the same direction. Do whatever works to maximize your piece of felt. And I'm just using basic acrylic felt. It's not wool felt, but if you have that, obviously, you could also use wool felt. Let's just make a note of that so that when I pick it up at some future date, I don't forget what it was for. I'm saving all of my felt scraps, even the littlest ones at the moment, because I know that they can be used in a future project. And when it comes to thread, I'm using the 6-stranded embroidery floss because I wanted it to be a feature. The seams are going to be on the outside, and I wanted the contrasting thread to be visible, nice and noticeable. But you could use sewing thread, or you could use crochet cotton, whatever you like. Obviously, I've chosen a needle with a large enough eye to accommodate my 2 strands of embroidery floss. I'm just going to whack a knot in the end there. So because I've got pen marks on this, I'm considering that to be my wrong side of my pieces, and I'm just going to put them wrong sides together. So you see, because of the asymmetry, they don't match perfectly, but you can fudge it as you're sewing them together. And I just hide the knot in between the layers like that. And I'm just whip stitching it. You certainly could do blanket stitch as well. But I decided on whip stitch. And when I get to the end, I like to fasten it off and not just go straight to the next section. So I take the needle in between the layers, just do a little knot. So that's fastened off. So now we have two. As you can see, your stitching does not have to be perfect. Mine is far from perfect. It doesn't have to be even. So we're just going to grab the piece here like this, and the next piece here, put them wrong sides together. Line up the edges. Let's get the needle to the front of the front piece. And start whip stitching again. I'm on my last seam now. It doesn't look like much yet. It needs stuffing to make it look like an actual pumpkin. It did occur to me that if you thought that the base of your pumpkin looked a little messy, you could put a button over it. And I thought I would try it with this one. So I've got a button ready in just a olive green to put on the bottom of my pumpkin. And if you didn't have any pipe cleaners or didn't want to buy them specially, you could also put a button on the top. It would still look cute. And if you were using it for, say, a pin cushion, a button would probably be more practical. I certainly don't recommend giving these to little children because the way I've put my pipe cleaners in, they're easily pulled out again. All right, I have half sewn that last seam. And now I'm going to grab some of this fibre fill and start stuffing it. It always seems to take more than you think it's going to take. And I don't think it pays to be stingy with your stuffing. Now that end is actually looking pretty tidy. This end is looking messier because I didn't match my points up very well. So this is going to be the bottom end. I'm going to just cinch up the bottom and then sew the button over it so it looks neater. Just hide that thread inside. Let's grab another bit of thread here. I cut my embroidery floss about 2 feet long, and I did 3 seams with one piece and 3 seams with the second. And this third piece, because of course there's 6 strands, so you get 3 usable lengths out of each piece. And my third one is going to be used to finish everything off. So I put a knot in the end. I'm just going to get started in here and sew the button on. This is a completely optional part that I just added in as a spontaneous extra because I didn't think of it yesterday. So I'm just going to go through the holes one time, and then I'm going to go all the way through the middle of the pumpkin and hopefully come out on that hole there. Yep, there we go. Ouch. It wouldn't be a stitches and slapdashery video without me hurting myself in some way, would it? There. So now that I've got my thread at the very top, I'm just going to put the needle down for a minute and get my pipe cleaners and pencil because I want to make my little curly bits. Now it's up to you obviously how long you make the curly bits, but you do need a straight part, so maybe a couple of inches of straight part and then just wrap it round, pencil all the way, not too tight together, obviously snug around the pencil but not touching as you're coiling it, and then you just slide it off. And there's your first little tendril. And then do the same with the second piece. And then all I did was push them in at an angle. So one goes that way. And one goes the other way. So I think I prefer the look if none of the straight part is sticking out and it's just the coiled bits. So if your pumpkin is smaller, you might want to just make the straight part of that smaller and maybe just do like 3 wraps on there and trim it back. So I'm just going to take my needle again and we're going to go around the top of the pumpkin. To tighten up the hole around the stems a little bit. Just pull it a little tight. And then you're going to go back down through the pumpkin. And if you're doing a button, through one of the holes of the button. If not, just through the center hole or where the hole used to be. And you want to just squish this down a bit to look more pumpkin shaped. So you want to squash it down a little like that. This is going to be a little fiddlier with the button here, but we can manage it. And then I'll go through the other way as well. Oops. Catching my felt. Yep, I can't see any stuffing from the top or the bottom. Everything looks finished off. So I'm just going to do a couple of times around the button and then knot it off under the button. A couple of times through the loop and then hide the tail inside. And we're done. That did not take long at all. You will very soon have a little family of pumpkins. which you can use to decorate your full shelf, mantelpiece, coffee table, whatever you like. 2 handfuls of pumpkins so far, and I think there's going to be more in my future. They're so quick and easy to make. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you decided to make any and what you thought, if you made any modifications and all that good stuff. And I'm sure I'll see you again soon with something else that's fun. Bye for now.